Welcome back to the DeFi Recode. This is episode 3. I'm excited to bring on Big Pey here, founder of Bloompool, one of the founders of Bloompool, an expert in the Cardano ecosystem, at least by my calling. When I'm trying to figure stuff out with Cardano, I'm watching every Big Pey video I can find. So I'm excited to bring him on. I'm gonna let him give a quick introduction for those who didn't see our last interview or don't know who he is on YouTube or Twitter, and I'll let him kind of hop right into it.
Cool. So thanks for having me on, Rand. I really appreciate it, and I also appreciate the expert title, man. Thank you. I have been in Cardano since about 2017. That's when I first heard about it. But actually building, creating things. I've been making YouTube videos about Cardano for about 2 years now. I think one of the first videos up on my channel was like late 2018, early 2019. And, I always dreamed of creating a stake pool. And that was supposed to happen, early 2018, late 2017, but it never happened. It actually ended up coming at the end of 2019. And that's kind of where it all started. I made videos for people like how to stake, how to choose a stake pool, how to maximize your returns, just real basic educational videos, And because of those videos, at the same time, I started a stake pool, and that stake pool is Bloompool. And because those videos, people found them, valuable and useful. We got enough delegation to process over 1% of the transactions for the network. And we were one of the first ever stake pools on Cardano, actually minting the 8th ever block. So, what do I do now? Well, it's really just the next evolution of Cardano. Shelly happened, staking happened, and, now we're moving up towards, ETH era stuff where we have, multi-asset tokens, we have dApps coming, so that's kind of what I do now. I look at, the new dApps that are coming. I still run my stake pool business, and obviously the stake pool stuff is going to change greatly once we have smart contracts and everything that's coming. But yeah, my name's Peyton. I run a YouTube channel called Big Pey, and that's kind of where I got my start.
It's been fun watching you dig into NFTs and all the dApps popping up on Cardano. And before we get there, I want to ask you your thoughts on Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and all the just ESG energy thoughts going around with Bitcoin and other coins.
Can you
And
define ESG?
uh
ESG.
it's like efficient, it's like green energy is the G in it. I forget what the E and the S is. Let's look it up real quick.
Oh, just kind of like green
It's
Bitcoin,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's environmental, social, and corporate governance. So like the environmental part is what they're all talking about when like Elon goes, we at Tesla had to stop because Bitcoin's not green enough right now. And I think that's what kind of caused it, in my mind, kind of caused the dip. And but then you saw Cardano really shine during all of this past week. And I
Yeah.
just, I wonder what your thoughts are on that. All at the same time, you see people like, kind of dismissing it. So, like, as somebody on the inside of Cardano, like, what are your thoughts? Not on the inside of Cardano, like you're inside of the program, but somebody who knows more about the ecosystem. Your thoughts on that green element?
So I'm honestly still thinking about it. When he made that tweet, it seemed, I don't know, I just got this feeling in my stomach, and I don't know what it was for. I just felt hyper important, that tweet. Like I had a bit of a deja vu moment. It almost felt as if that was a transition into the way people looked at cryptocurrency. I feel like I always looked at Bitcoin as it's, the provably secure blockchain that we all use to store our value. No matter what the transaction fees are, I'm storing my net worth there for a long, long time. And it'll be safe, it'll be secure. Of course, it uses some energy. Of course, the transaction fees are 30, $40. It is what it is, but I know that my value is safe there. And I thought it was going to be around for good. But seeing that tweet, in a time that we're in now, we're in a pivotal moment for cryptocurrency where there's so many new people coming into the space that have fresh minds that don't have this Bitcoin maxi kind of a part of them like we all do, and that is their introduction to crypto. Elon Musk saying Bitcoin is not energy efficient enough, and we're not going to accept it, and we're not going to be a part of this Bitcoin movement for that. And I'm still thinking about it. What does that mean? Does that mean that this bull market, are we going to transition, more to altcoins, specifically energy efficient? And at the same time that this article or that this happened, an article came out that said, oh, well, Cardano is 1,000 times more efficient than Bitcoin, energy efficient than Bitcoin, using the proof of stake model. So it felt hyper important, right? It either felt as if this was the top of the market and we're going back down and we're going to bleed, or this is a transition into an altcoin market like we've never seen before, where energy efficient coins, are running the show. And it's honestly really interesting, and I'm interested to see what comes out of it. But I'm not too happy that he immediately just switches to Dogecoin, because I think it would have been a very good for him to say, we need to look at other cryptocurrencies. Just because Bitcoin was first doesn't mean that it's the best or that it is the most energy efficient. And like technology that constantly evolves over time, let's look at the next best thing. But instead of looking for the next best thing, he says, let's just take the shittiest thing we have, Dogecoin, and let's just upgrade it. It took something that seemed very valuable and very had a lot of light to it, and there could be a great side of it, and he just took it and pissed on it and put out the fire, right? I think, but
I agree.
it did still kind of in people's mind change their ethos about Bitcoin. And people talk about Cardano now, even the main finance YouTubers. I watch this guy named Meet Kevin, Graham Stephan, Andre Jick, the finance YouTubers. They've always been about stocks, and now they're all about crypto. And every single day I tune into their channel, Cardano, 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 Cardano. So we're in the ethos now, and Elon was a part of that. So it's for better or worse. It's a double-edged sword, because I don't really like one billionaire controlling the whole market. And maybe it would have been better for Cardano to not be in everyone's mouth yet. Maybe it would have been better to wait till after smart contracts, work out some of the kinks, and then we bring all the users in. But now it's for better or for worse. Everyone knows about us, and we're going to be next few months. They're going to be pretty crazy. So
Absolutely, and getting into that and some of the updates with Cardano news. Cardano Africa was gigantic, and a lot of people on our channel might not know what that is or watching the podcast. So, a little update on what happened with Cardano and in Africa, if you could.
So Cardano in Africa, that has kind of been the sole mission of Cardano in Africa, and it's bank the unbanked. There's an old TED Talk from 2016 that Charles Hoskinson, he came on TED Talk and he said, there are over 3 billion people in this world that don't have access to finance, basic loans, basic things they need to actually build their business. And that resonated a lot with me, and it resonated with a lot of other people that are in the Cardano community. And for years it just seemed almost like a pipe dream. It seemed like, oh, this is never going to happen because of all the bureaucracy there, because of all the government changes. Will Cardano, this 15th cryptocurrency in market cap, be able to actually accomplish a deal with one of these governments that can be identity, it can be just any form of deal, identity on the blockchain, or they're using this cryptocurrency as a store of value to get away from some of their African currencies that haven't had value in the past. Just any deal that brings any amount of users was very important. And then they've kind of just been teasing this for the past 4 months, like, hey, something's going on in Ethiopia. We're waiting on them to announce it publicly, but it's already been signed. It's already been ready to go. And then finally they did this long 2-hour Cardano Africa event about everything they're doing in Africa. And the deal that was signed with Ethiopia was 5 million users being brought onto the Cardano blockchain with an identity system for their school and for their military. And it's crazy because what it does, it's actually really simple. Blockchain is a lot simpler than you think. All that a block is data, and then the data is transactions, right? So how do we store someone's identity, or how do we store someone's grades or performance? Just you put the data in the transaction, and it's just a JSON file. It's very simple. So that's what they did, is they essentially signed a deal to bring 5 million users in Ethiopia onto the Cardano blockchain to store their identity and metadata that's obviously encrypted using the Atala Prism system that IOG is working on, and then also track their performance, over time. And that is the start to Cardano Africa, because Ethiopia is the first deal. And then this is kind of, to me, this is going to have this big ripple effect, throughout Africa, because once they prove that they can do this and they show the value provided, then more governments are going to be adopting these because it does bring value to their people. And they're already close to signing deals in multiple other countries, and they mentioned that. And then another big thing about Cardano Africa was they realized that a lot of people there don't have the ability to even use the internet yet, or the ability to use phone services. So they came out with this new thing called World Mobile Token, and I'm not as knowledgeable as I would like to be on that. And I'm actually having them on my podcast very shortly. So, next time on, I can explain that a little bit more. But they're trying to, how can you bank the unbanked, using a cryptocurrency or using the internet when they're not connected to the internet, right? So then they kind of transition this. They saw this issue, and now they're trying to connect the unconnected before they bank the unbanked, right? You give all of these people internet access. You go there, you build their infrastructure, and the infrastructure they're building with World Mobile Token actually uses the Cardano blockchain itself as well, right? So it's all tied together. It's really cool, and I think this 2 hour long event, if you missed it, you should watch it. It's a big eye opener. It was beautifully shot. It was like I was watching a movie. They've gotten some very good on their comms, and I think you will enjoy that. And we're going to get more of these throughout the year. I think that was the first Africa special, and we're going to be hearing a lot more about Cardano and Africa in the future.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And like for the educational identity and stuff like that, is this for like university, identity? Are we talking younger children to start? Is this something that generations will grow up with, or do they have like a target for that, or is it, all educational systems in Ethiopia? I don't know if that information's out or anything like that. Just a question that pops up in my mind.
Yeah, no, great question. I want to think, because it was a few weeks ago when I read this, and my brain is telling me, so I can't confirm it 100%, but I want to say it's specifically to do with education for the military.
Okay, and like,
Not
being able
for-
to assign identity and know who's had what training and things like that, I assume.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what's so cool about Atala Prism, and I'm so excited for this to actually be a thing. So with cryptography, it sounds so complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. You just have keys. You have a public key and a private key, right? If you have someone's public key, you can get access to some sort of information. But what you can actually do is you can have your identity, right? And you have a private and public key, and you can sign something stating with those two keys that this is my identity. I am who I say I am, and then give that signature to the party without them having access to all of your information, like your social, like anything else. And I mean, nowadays you can't even order a pizza without giving them, your phone number, your name, your email address, everything. And there's all these databases all over, presumably wherever you live, that have all of your information. But what's so cool about Atala Prism is you can sign something, confirm that you are who you are, give them for the information at time of use, and then it disappears, right? Without them having all that information or having to store it, right? So that's kind of what they're doing, and that's what they will be doing in a few years, because this is a long-term thing. Africa is a 10-year mission. That's not like this bull market. We're going to see the fruits from this labor. It's going to be the next bull market and the bull market after that, because Cardano Africa is a 10-year mission.
Yeah, I mean the wheels already get turning when it comes to identity like that, like being able to verify like banking and stuff like that, and all the personal information you have to give up for KYC, or just, medical records, or like all the applications that could be used for in the future. It gets voting, which I know they talk about a lot with Cardano. Governance and voting is very important there, and I really like that. Like how a Catalyst and everything like that is growing huge. Like your thoughts on Catalyst and the growing ecosystem, because I feel like a lot of the Twitter hate and just hate from the outside, they like to say no, there's no ecosystem with Cardano, but all of us that are in it and see it, there is a very vibrant and growing ecosystem, and Catalyst is a big part of that. So your thoughts on like how Catalyst has kind of grown and how it's moving along?
Every time I interact with Catalyst in any way, I come to the town halls or I get on the chats. I'm honestly just amazed. It's new, it's fresh, and it's an experiment. There's going to be bugs. They run into issues. There's delays. But I mean, if you truly think about what they're doing, I mean, it's insane. They're trying to build a decentralized governance system. I mean, I just couldn't even imagine doing that. And every time I interact with Catalyst, I am just amazed at all of the thought that is going into every step of the way, to how the voting is done. They do ranked voting, and they take papers written about papers written about how voting should be done and how these things should be done, how these town halls should be done, and they're integrating all of this knowledge and all this history that we have, into something new, which is a decentralized blockchain, and they're doing it right now in funds, and I really think I think it's awesome. The only thing is I wish they were giving out a little bit more funds. Um, because right now I think Fund 5 is $2 million. Well, there's sorry, there's over $1 billion now in the treasury. So I wish that there were a little bit more funds going out that people could apply for, and then maybe that would stop some of these IDOs that are just trying to take funds, or other ways of funding your protocol that's not Catalyst, because um, I just don't think there's enough funds in there to go around right now, right? But it is at the same time, because it's new and it's an experiment and they're working out all these bugs. They don't want to have a $5 or $10 million fund and then someone find a glitch in the system and take that money, because that would be a bad article, even though in the grand scheme of things it wouldn't affect anything, because of how much money is truly in the treasury. It would just be a bad look, and you'd get more of this, nothing narrative that's going on. But right now in Cardano, everywhere you look, there's something going on. I mean, there's a Cardano NFT community that's growing. We're going to be going to that in a minute. There's the Project Catalyst community that's growing. You still have the stake pool operator community that's over 2,000 people strong. It's just everywhere you look, there are new things coming, and this is before we even have smart contracts. So
That's an amazing point you bring up there, and that's something I was, saying to somebody on Twitter, like the stake pool operators and the amount of pools is growing at such a rapid pace and decentralization. And we haven't there's such a large amount of capital in the Cardano network, and we haven't seen a 51% attack or anything. So for people to say like staking isn't decentralized or there's holes or anything like that, it's funny to me because we haven't seen an attack yet. So and there's a large, at this point Cardano's grown to a point of a market cap where there's enough of a bug bounty out there in just exploiting it alone, to make your money. So like that's like that. What do you feel on like the pool growth and how fast that's accelerated? I feel like.
um, I I honestly think it's going to start slowing down a little bit because of DApps, right? I mean, because I feel like the only thing that there was to build on Cardano a year ago was a stake pool. That's the only way that you can add value. That's the only thing that you can build. Whereas now you can make an NFT. You can make all of these DeFi protocols, and I think we're already there with 2,500 different stake pools. I mean, philosophically, I spoke to Duncan, who actually worked on the paper called Ouroboros Chronos to for this, and he's like, it really becomes a philosophical question past this of how decentralized do you really need to be? And Cardano is centralized still. And it's because of Project Catalyst, right? The only way for us to, build the protocol to keep building is to have a decentralized way to vote. But Project Catalyst isn't prepared yet. So as far as like node to node decentralization, Cardano is killing it and will continue to kill it. But we're waiting on the decentralized voting to where we have true decentralization. I think once we're there, um, it's going to be hard for something like Binance Smart Chain to touch us because of the centralization there. Because Cardano will then be truly a decentralized protocol where whoever has the most stake in the system votes on where the protocol goes.
Makes a lot of sense. Speaking on Binance, like I have so many friends making so much money on Binance, but I'm so afraid to touch it because it's also where every scam pump and dump is popping up right now. So I will stay away from it, Binance, and I
It's so
definitely think
easy, man. They just give you all the tools you need to build the swap protocol. They give you all the tools you need to list on Binance very quickly. They just give you so many tools to get things done that they just have all these new projects coming in. It's just it's crazy. But, I wonder if people care. You know, like the average user, the average new person coming into cryptocurrency, do they care about decentralization? You know, I feel like at the end of the day, like the crypto community does. But if you're a new user coming in just trying to make some money and you heard you can make some money from these DeFi protocols or providing liquidity, you're just going to go wherever it's easiest, and it's damn easy on Binance. You know, it's real easy because I was
No.
messing a month ago.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And like that is a big debate going on. Like, is Ethereum, with the high gas fees and how hard it is to onboard new users, like that's giving the runway for Binance to be as successful as they have been and Cardano to come up really quickly. I think that's given the runway. I mean, I have some okay size bags on Ethereum, and all of last week I couldn't do anything, you know. And
Yeah.
I was a part of an exploit where they were like, you need to, if you want to keep your rewards from the pool, you need to exit the pool to collect the rewards. And the gas fees were so high, it wasn't even worth trying to keep the rewards. You know what I mean? Like it was a $400 transaction fee just to remove from the pool, which was just insanity. That wasn't worth it at all. So I can see the trouble and the frustration everybody's having. And also as a Cardano user, I can see the use cases there and I'm excited for what's coming up. Like you see on Ethereum, the high gas fees. I pray for Babel fees with Cardano. Like I love to hit the max trade button and I hate that I have to think about like leaving some Ethereum in my wallet because I can't pay my fee with the other token and move things around. It's a little annoying, and I can see where Cardano's really coming up, governance and speed and everything like that. And to the next topic, you've been playing with the NFTs on Cardano. What do you think about the NFTs? What have you
I'll make
collected?
one statement
Yeah,
about what you said, and I agree
fire.
with you completely, man. With the fees, it's so everyone I know is into cryptocurrency now. My dad, my mom, my everybody. And I was just talking to my girlfriend last night, and I'm like, what's the fucking point of Ethereum if my dad can't get on there and use it, right? I mean, I don't use it. It's too expensive for me to use it, and I've been in cryptocurrency for years. I have more crypto than most, and I don't touch Ethereum because it's too damn expensive. So what's the point of financial freedom? What's the point of what we're all trying to move towards when the people that actually need financial freedom and need more freedom can't even interact with the chain without spending, half their paycheck for a week or two? It's ridiculous. It's just
I
insane. And the
I
fact that
agree.
I just I honestly cannot even believe that it's that high and it's as successful still as it is. It's just it's incredible.
There's so much built there. Like I can see why it's still successful. There is so much built there, and finance has taken such like a deep entrenchment on that chain. And I'm in a bunch of DeFi discords on Ethereum, and I keep as quiet as I can. Sometimes, like this weekend when Cardano was pumping, I was in there like, "Yep, I'm that guy. That's the Cardano holder in the Discord." But like most of the time I stay quiet because a lot of these they're all very passionate communities, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, like they're all very entrenched, and I feel like we're moving to like a multi-chain world at a minimum.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be anyone that takes over, and I think having that like total maximalist view is a tough one to take, especially on Ethereum with all the problems it has right now. You have to
Yeah,
be
I agree,
looking
man.
out.
And you think I'm a Cardano maxi, but I'm not. I hold Bitcoin and I hold Cardano, and it's like, why don't I hold ETH?
It's
That's
tough.
why.
It's tough.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I've been saying it myself, and I watch, the Ethereum to Cardano chart very closely. That's important to me, is Ethereum to Cardano, and Cardano's been outperforming Ethereum for the past 6 months plus. I don't know, on the ups and the downs. It's going
Hmm.
higher, and it's also putting in a floor before. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
and it's also a much higher risk investment. Especially last year before we saw the release of Shelley, and during the incentivized test net when things were kind of shoddy. It was a much higher risk investment back then. So it
Absolutely.
we've made a lot more returns than ETH would, because ETH was definitely a more safe investment. Last year at the $200-$300 range than picking up eight at 3 to 6 cents.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I've been watching a lot of your videos, a lot of your interviews. You've been digging into NFTs. What excites you most about NFTs on Cardano? What have you picked up that you love? What's kind of going on over there? Because I haven't played with NFTs at all, other than Top Shots.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I like seeing people kind of just like pick up things and run with it, right? Because we don't have smart contracts yet on Cardano. So there's no way for me to set up, a decentralized way to sell these. I can't just get a smart contract that states if I receive 2 ADA, then I send them this NFT back. So how do we go about selling NFTs? So people have essentially just been like writing scripts and just coming up with a lot of, unique and crazy ways to accept ADA and send back these NFTs. And right now, it's all like a centralized process. They have a server that accepts the ADA that connects to another server, and then that server mints the token and then returns the NFT to the address that sent the ADA. But once smart contracts are out, the smart contract will do all of that for you. And Space Buds was the first ever NFT on top of Cardano, the first like well done, limited supply randomization NFT done on Cardano. And that was my first time ever really seeing an NFT drop because I skipped ETH because of the fees, because of my ideologies. I'm kind of all seeing this with new eyes. I've never seen what's the main one on what's the 8-bit one on Ethereum that everyone loves? It's rewarded
Oh,
$1,000 like at minimum.
like yeah, the
It's like
freaking
cyberpunks or something.
yes, the cyber crypto punks.
CryptoPunks, yeah, like
Yeah.
that. And then Cardano Bits is one that looks just like that. But there's something very unique about Space Buds, and it was cool because it was only made by a couple people, and he's just a college student over in Europe, and he made, I think, in 2 days like over 500 grand. And now that ADA is $2, I mean, he made 1 million in 2 days if he kept the ADA, which is insane. You know, he did
Wow.
all of it himself. He did all the back end stuff himself. He did. He paid an artist to obviously design the NFTs, but every other step of the way, the website, the centralized backend that mints the token and returns it to the address, he did all of that himself. And he's probably like 20 to 22 and just made 1 million in a couple of days. So I saw that and was just very impressed, by him. And because you start to look at these chains when you start seeing NFTs and smart contracts, you start to look at these chains as tools instead of, investments. And that's what he did. He essentially used the Cardano blockchain as a tool and built his own tooling around before we even had smart contracts. So I was very, very impressed with that. I had him on the podcast, and he obviously started kind of a cascading event of all these NFT projects because anytime someone makes 1 million in 2 days, there's going to be 100 more dudes that are like, oh, I'm going to make 1 million in 2 days. So there have been a lot more NFT projects springing up on Cardano. I have not purchased one more. I don't like any of them, other than I had one on my channel earlier this week, Herkheimer's. I like theirs. It was cool. He actually reached out to me and said that he wanted to sponsor a video, and I saw him. I was like, hey man, just come on. Let's pull some of these live. And Herkheimer's are pretty cool. So shout out to them. I think it's herkheimers.io is how you check them out. But same thing. You get on the site. You send X amount of ADA, and then automatically returned to you is an NFT. And I think that the art is just showcasing, what the world's going to be in the future. Everything that we need to store value is eventually going to be an NFT. We own a house, it's going to be an NFT on the blockchain. Um, Everything will all be NFTs, and art is just showcasing, the basics. Because I was also thinking the other day about how, smart contracts are going to have staking. So you, Rand, can choose to delegate to my smart contract. Well, why don't I just use an NFT as a token to show that you delegated to my smart contract, to show it's like a bond, right? You're getting a token because you're earning rewards from delegating this to my smart contract. And then my smart contract has some special stuff written into it that pledges X amount to the pool. So you earn more rewards, but you have to lock up in that smart contract for 6 months. So then you get a token that's a 6-month token that you earn rewards for every 5 days because of that token, right? The art stuff is cool, but NFTs are going to be something that none of us can even think about right now, right? The art stuff's awesome. It shows the real utility of the Cardano chain because I can mint and send you an NFT for about $3 right now instead of 300, which is a pretty big deal. So it shows some utility there. And what's so cool is, say these fees do get too high. Say it's $1, it's about $1, or it's 1.6 ADA to send an NFT. Well, that's where governance comes in because the fees in Cardano It's not a race to the top. It's a parameter that we all vote on, right? Relative to what's going on in the network. If ADA is $10 and 1.68 is too high, for the average person, then we all vote to lower that, with keeping delegation rewards in mind, because you actually get paid transaction fees for choosing a staple to stake to. So if those rewards are, say, a little high because the fees are too high, then you lower the fees a little bit so the rewards drop a little bit, but then more people can use the system. you know
That makes a lot of sense. And do you think that NFTs and like art wise, like I see where you're coming from as a real estate guy. I cannot wait for, NFT titles and not needing title companies and all that time to wait to just sell property or transfer ownership and things like that. But do you think it might be a little early with how hard it is to like sell, on Cardano and do it all on Cardano? Is there a little bit of a money grab kind of going on? Where do you see like the value of these NFTs falling out in the future? Some I guess the first will obviously probably hold value, but do you think there's a little bit of a cash grab going on at the moment?
Oh, of course. And people buying these NFTs, you should just be buying them knowing you're paying for the artwork, right? I would never buy these NFTs and speculate on them as an investment, because think about what you're doing. You're giving up your ADA, which is a gem, right? We have Alonzo coming. You earn 5% a year, and an ADA is a dollar right now. Do you think ADA is going to be a dollar in 5 years? So now, in 5 years from now, you have this space bud that you paid 10,000 ADA for, and now, oh, the value of the NFTs increased 20x in USD. Well, guess what? That's only 1,000 ADA now, dumbass. You know what I mean? You just gave up 9,000 ADA. It's of
Yeah.
course worth more USD, but yeah, speculating on these NFTs, I think is just some weenie stuff. I've never bought one of these NFTs like, oh, I'm going to make a bunch of money off of them in the future. What I do is I kind of buy them, I keep some of them, and I'm just going to have them forever.
Yeah.
They're cool.
Art that
And
you like and want to hold.
exactly, but buying them to expect that you're going to get the $1 million, crypto punk, is just ridiculous. It's never going to happen.
Agreed.
And I don't really see it. I mean, it is a cash grab, but I don't know if it is, because they're purchasing it. They're choosing to send the 10A to there. It doesn't seem so much as a cash grab to me as like IDOs do, where they're saying they're giving you a token that's worth nothing. They're saying, here is artwork that I'm selling.
It's
They're
very it
selling a product at least.
it reminisces to me of like loot boxes in video games and getting skins, and how it's a slippery slope with, is it gambling and is it like a lottery? Are people do some people get addicted to just wanting to watch see what gets pulled or what you get, you know what I mean? I think there's a big warning to put up in front of those as well, because you've seen it with like loot boxes and kids spending all their money on Counter-Strike skins and stuff like that, and I feel like
Mhm.
there's a little bit of that. But I also see, I mean, we're providing good art, people are finding it, people are enjoying what they're buying, and it is bringing utility and vision to the chain of Cardano, which I think is super important.
Yeah, and it's bringing new people in too, because
Hmm.
there are people that are only interested in crypto for the NFTs. And, once they hear, oh shit, I can actually afford to trade NFTs on this chain, hell yeah. Because in the CNFT community, there's a Discord community called CNFT, and they kind of grew from Space Buds. A lot of those guys just came from ETH, and they only mess around with NFTs. They're not like big Cardano guys. They're not, they just, like NFTs, and they go wherever NFTs are kind of thriving. And right now they're thriving on Cardano. Um, I
That
haven't
makes
really
sense.
I haven't released much information about it yet, but I'm working on my own NFT project, and I haven't really thought of that gambling aspect, but it is. And I used to love video games as a kid and keep grinding and grinding over and over again for, you know, the rarest item or the gun that did the most damage, and that's kind of what it feels like to me, when you're pulling from these packs, it's like, oh, did I get the rarest item? Did I get this? And I think it's fine, because they're not an ordinance amount of money. You can definitely spend a bunch of money doing it, but it's going to take you some time to do that. I mean, every transaction, it usually takes about 4 or 5 minutes to spend, let's say the NFT's 25 ADA, that's $50, right? So it's going to take $50, 6 minutes. So I mean, it's going to take you a bit of time to spend all your money, but To counter that, they're just going to waste their money somewhere else. You know what I mean? They're just going to go gamble on the other dopamine driving thing that's in their life.
Very
So
true. Very true. Have you taken a dive into some of the DeFi projects that have popped up on Cardano? I know we've got Liquid and Indigo and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on, the upcoming DeFi? Have you played with it in Ethereum or anywhere else at all?
I've
Thoughts
played a
on that?
little bit in Ethereum. I'm very excited for it, and I think Cardano offers something very unique, and it offers DeFi protocols that can be formally verified. In the Ethereum space, you have people that audit these protocols. Well, on Cardano, we're going to have the same thing, but these auditors are going to be formally verifying the math, right? Because that's what a formal language is just essentially math. And it's a lot easier to me to verify math than it is to, verify an imperative language. We're using functions, and it's just, I think that it's going to add a lot more security and trust in these DeFi protocols, which I think is what cryptocurrency needs, and I'm just so excited for it because I'll be able to interact with it in a cheap way. It's also quicker. It takes about 20 seconds for a Cardano transaction to go through. So when you are on whatever protocol and you plug in your ledger, your Trezor, and you click go, it's going to take 20 seconds. And then, so you're getting kind of instant feedback from, withdrawing rewards. So you're getting instant feedback for, providing liquidity. And I recently had Sunday Swap on my podcast this weekend. Did you get a chance to catch that?
I did. I loved that.
Yeah, so
But
they're doing
explain, yeah.
something very unique. Yeah, they're doing something very unique called an initial stake offering, to where they're using Cardano's stake pools to actually, fund their project. So instead of, charging a normal margin like 3%, 5%, they're actually charging 100%. And it's really funny because it's very easy to mint tokens. I mean, I can get on there and mint Rand coin in 10 minutes. So they got on there, and they haven't minted it yet, but they will. They're going to mint the Sunday token. It's going to cost them probably $4 or $5 to mint it, and then they're going to be taking everyone's ADA, 100% fees on the pool, and then they're going to be sending them back the Sunday token that has no value in return. I mean, it's the greatest scheme ever for funding a project or for making money, really, because they're going to be making like 100K USD in epoch from that, and it's to me it's better than the IDO because epoch by epoch you can stop supporting them, but what real incentive is there to build the project? The only incentive is let's keep this fucking stake pool going, or let's open up a second one. You know what I mean? That's the only real incentive I see there. But so Sunday, that's the thing right now is and I'm not talking shit about them. This is to all DeFi protocols on Cardano. The Plutus testnet isn't out yet. You cannot start building your Plutus protocol. So when you look at Sunday, and a lot of people are very, very excited for them. And I think people should actually see the risk with all of these protocols. I mean, if you look back at the ICO days, I mean, like 90% of them are gone. 90% of them, had some funds, either made something shitty or didn't make anything at all and ran away with the funds. Well, it's going to be the same thing on Cardano. I mean, you have people like Ben Gortzel making a DeFi protocol. You have Charles researching DeFi protocols at IOG. You have Emergo talking about making DeFi protocols. You have Liquid. You have Indigo protocol. I mean, there's probably right now at least 30 different companies working on a DeFi project on top of Cardano doing the same exact thing. And not one of them actually have built it yet. It's just impossible. Maybe IOG or maybe Ben Gortzel because they're on the private Plutus Pioneer testnet, but everyone else, impossible, right? So Sunday and whoever does ISO or Occam, who is doing IDO, any funding methods, there is no real working project or product yet. So when you read Sunday's white paper, it's 5 pages long. It's not really worked out yet, and then all the other documentation on their site is really just about how to give them your money in exchange for this token that's worth nothing.
Right.
So people just need to be careful with all of these new projects, and it's the same saying as always. Never invest more than you're willing to lose. The issue is people don't realize how much of a gem Cardano is and how you don't often get returns like that, in a couple years. And they're looking for the next big thing. Cardano was great. Let me just find the next big DeFi protocol on Cardano without realizing that some of the smartest people that I've ever talked to are actually building these protocols, and So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting seeing all of these like kind of shake each other out or all of them build. But I'm damn excited, and I'll definitely be providing liquidity to some of them. So
Absolutely, man. I think it's going to be a fun time. I do like, there's pros and cons with the way like Sunday Swap or others are doing it. I do like the fact that your ADA is always in your wallet, and your initial capital isn't going to be lost. But you do bring up a good point of that 5% you're earning, and that adds up a lot to the pool. And it's a lot of cash flow for somebody to be bringing in for a project that can't be getting built out yet. I think that's an important point that they're already receiving a lot of cash flow without having to do something. It kind of reminds me of like what was that like startup like TV show on HBO where they were like some of the best things to do with a startup to keep raising capital is just never release a product. And like once you release a product, the product has to work really well. So I
yeah, I
do
mean it's like
believe.
every 10 days you can buy your mom a house. So it's like every 10 days you're like, oh, we got to delay this. And they never talked about how much money they needed. They're not sure if they're going to open up a second pool or not, and they said they're not going to. But let me tell you, when you see $100,000 appearing out of thin air and your pool's saturated, and you have half of your users complaining that they can't get the coin, what are you going to do? You're going to open up a second pool the next fucking day. The next day, the pool's going to be up because that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to open up their pool, and all these people in Cardano that have no idea like about investing, no idea about like, oh, they can't even build anything yet. They're going to be like, I want some Sunday tokens. I'm going to make my next million. And then they're going to delegate all their ADA to it. Their pool's going to be at 100 million. And then Sunday's going to look and they say, we either make $100,000 more every 5 days, or we don't make 100,000 more every 5 days. What are we going to do?
Not only that, it's like amazing marketing to get to the second pool. Like when the first pool fills up, and then that marketing spills over, it kind of like lends to more people delegating, and when another pool opens, people are going to want to delegate to it. You're definitely going to create a second pool. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
Speaking
yeah. And he came on and he was cool. It
Yeah.
sounds like I'm talking shit, but I'm not. I actually said similar
No.
things on May yesterday, and he said, "Hey, man, everything you said was fair." So
Yeah.
they're taking everyone's criticisms and looking at the incentive issues, and they're kind of taking them, with stride. So respect to them for that.
Absolutely. And it could turn out to be a very interesting product. I'd love to hear more as it grows. It's something that's all in the works. So
Mhm.
just kind of let it be a fluid situation. Speaking on stuff like that, and you've already dropped a little bit of alpha on Bloompool, maybe some NFTs, Bloom tokens and stuff. What's going on with Bloompool? What kind of little alpha can we leak about the expansion of Bloom?
So we're doing a lot. We were one of the first ever stake pools. And I almost feel like I want to follow Cardano's release cycles. I want to provide value with each of Cardano's tools as they come out, right? So the first one obviously was Shelly. You know, Shelly comes out, we build a stake pool, we process transactions for the network. The next one was metadata, where you can actually store the JSON files in your transactions. I messed around a little bit with that. I did some voting stuff with Spacra, but there wasn't really much tools that you could offer your customers with that. So then the next hard fork was the Mary hard fork, and then that allowed native tokens on the Cardano blockchain. So just other tokens in your wallet, and it gave people the tools to mint these tokens. So I minted 1 million Bloom tokens, and what we want to do is pay our delegates for staking per epoch, another token on top of that. And we want to add, some sort of, loyalty program to where, you can purchase, maybe a discounted epoch, or you can purchase a t-shirt or a crypt keeper. And another thing we thought of is, maybe having a smart contract that you have to pay a certain amount of Bloom tokens to get access to the smart contract. So there has to be, say, 1,000 Bloom tokens in your wallet for you to earn rewards when you delegate to this certain smart contract. And the rewards that you earn from there are going to say eat a little bit of your Bloom tokens, but then you earn more ADA, right? So you get a discounted. So we're just essentially looking at all of the tools that we're going to have with Plutus when Goguen rolls out, and then all of the tools that we have, with Mary, with the tokens, and just give our delegates another incentive, and hopefully, bring them some more value by giving them these tokens. And initially, we are going to set up a faucet on the site where essentially you send one A to N and you get it in return. But I recently just decided that we're going to wait until after Goguen releases, because then I can just set up a smart contract for you to claim your tokens, versus me having this shoddy ass back end that I'm going to have to redo in 2 months anyway. So we have a lot of plans, and we would honestly like the Bloom token to be a part of a lot of these DeFi protocols. We would like to, be able to have people have the option to provide, Bloom as liquidity, and do a lot more things with Bloom token. And I've, been speaking with some of these, protocol creators, a lot of them, because like I said, not many of them are going to be around, but I would just like to have, I would like to give the ability for people that do support Bloom and do support the channel and support everything that we do to have some cool niche things that they can do on Cardano because of that support that they give us. So
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of fun things like liquidity providing and all types of fun personalized stuff you can do. I like the t-shirt idea. I need a Bloom sweatshirt. What's going on here?
we can send you one of those. We can make that happen.
We're meeting up in Miami. I'm gonna have to cop one for the Miami Nights, you know.
Oh yeah. That's what Anthony said. That he's got this shirt and he's getting a Bloom logo embroidered on it for Miami. I was like, damn, you're gonna be flexing on me, man.
Yeah, bro, tell him to get 3 of those made. Have you looked into the Miami conference? What's going on there? Are you excited?
Oh, I'm damn excited. I got my tickets. I've got the hotel. But to be honest, I have no idea what the hell's going on. I'm gonna be there. So I know
Bro.
there's a Cardano meetup that's going on. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to finally meet you and meet everybody else that we've met throughout this year, man.
Yeah, it's been a fun COVID. This event looks like it's going to be one for the record books. I mean, like the art installations and all the fun stuff we're going to see, but besides the talks and like that stuff, like I really think art wise and the way they're trying to like open up everybody's mind to cryptocurrency from what I've heard, I'm really excited to get down there and just kind of immerse myself with the community that like you said, we've all been talking online, met each other, and now we get a chance to meet in person and talk and let thoughts really flow. And I think there's going to be really exciting developments and partnerships and all types of fun stuff coming from this event. And it'll just be fun to be like in the mix while that's happening, you know?
Yeah, well, it's awesome because it's the first ever summit that I can attend. These tickets are $400, and I'm pretty young, so I couldn't afford to go to the 2018 Cardano Summit. But now, I'm living in Florida. It's just a 2-hour drive to Miami, and I'm so excited, man. It's my first conference, and like it's cool that I actually have people to meet there too now. Like everyone's so excited to meet up with me, and I'm excited to meet up with you. That it's just going to be an awesome fucking time, man. And the mood's high because we're in the middle of a bull market right now. Like it's perfect timing, man. And
It
I've
really
been
is.
too, so I'm excited to go to Miami again as well.
Do you know much information about the Cardano meetup, like when that is? And so I know Charles will be there and stuff. I'm very excited.
No, we haven't really been given much information. He just said initially, he said, "Hey, does anyone want to meet up at the Bitcoin conference?" And of course, everyone's like, "Yeah."
Like ah,
And then some people were bitching. They're like, "Hey, I can't afford to get in there." So then he tweets again and says, "We'll do a free meetup outside of the conference." So that's as far as I've gotten. I bet a few days before he'll probably tweet something out and say what, or maybe even the day of, and say, "Hey, whoever's here, meet me at this bar or something." And then the bar gets fucking packed, and you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
it's gonna be
yeah.
interesting.
It's gonna be definitely interesting. So Slot Cannon has a great question, and I know it comes up with me all the time. Rare pool. How are we is this something that we need to like scrap and start from scratch? Are we fixable from where we started? How do we get, can you update us on what you think about Rare Pool and what you think my best option and the community's best option may be going forward? Because I get asked all the time and I am not technically savvy enough to even be like, I have no I like we had a node that broke. Our connection to a node broke. You have been so helpful in letting us connect to like a Bloom node. And so just an update because I don't even know how to update people on what had happened, what you had done, would be awesome.
Yeah, so your relay was having issues. It was having latency issues, and it just kept crashing. And the relay is kind of what hides the IP address of the block producer from the rest of the network. And because the relay kept having issues, I was like, well, we can just use one of my relays, you know. So I used Bloom's relays to, bootstrap rand pool, and we sat there and we monitored the logs for a while. We cleaned everything up, we updated it, and the logs, everything looked good. So what it does when everything's good is it just goes leadership check, and then it says leadership check about every second over and over again for the infinity amount of time. So yeah, everything was good to go. The only reason that you would ever want to start again, start over, is to get rid of bad history, right? But from now on, starting over again wouldn't help the performance of the pool, but
Mhm.
in the data, the blockchain history, it would help, your yearly ROI, and it would help everything else, But
Absolutely.
is it still are you having troubles with it? Have you not minted a block since then?
We have still not minted a block, you know? So I don't know. I need to get you hooked up with Wes, and I think he was going to add you to like the Google backend so that you could like take a look at it
Mm-hmm.
on your own time and stuff. Because I know communicating between the three of us is so tough. Getting everything lined up. You know what I mean? But
I could.
whenever when we get to it, I would love to get to it, and I love that explanation because I couldn't explain to people what we had done. And I'm sure that's a lot of what's holding people back of like, well, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the problem
Yeah.
was. I know we had a problem, and I know that we've been working on it, and that's what I'm trying to convey to people. We're working on it. We're working through it. We're trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Fault either. The most recent update from 1.25.1 to 1.26.2, that update required you to reconfigure the entire ledger, right? And each node has the whole history of the blockchain saved. And this update, because it had to reconfigure the ledger, there was a bug for certain people, and it wasn't just Wes, it was a lot of people, actually would just corrupt the whole database. And
Ah,
the node would just continually run on this corrupted database until you got on there and actually just removed and wiped the database and redid it on this new update, right? So what I did is I wiped the database, got the node up and running so it's syncing everything again. And then for the time being, while we're still re-downloading the database for you, I just went ahead and connected the Bloom relays, which were up to date and already synced, so there was no downtime for the pool. Um,
this is
but
why I
yeah, that's
call you the Cardano expert, man. That was such a beautiful and like I understood it. It clicked in my mind.
I appreciate that, man. But yeah, I'm not sure why there's any problems past that, because
Well, we're
it
only
it's
34% to get a block,
complicated.
so
Yeah, the shit seems complicated, but when you look at it, it tells you exactly what it's doing. It's saying leadership check. Is this our block? Is this our block? And if there were errors like KES keys or all of the other things that you have to have set up on the node for it to work, it just tells you. It says, "Hey, something's fucked." Error. And it's red. It's like scary too. It's red, red. Like seriously. Or it's like KES keys poisoned, which means that you have to like update your keys, and it's like fuck, man.
All right, so hopefully we're on the right track. It says we're pending and going through blocks. We'll take a look at it. I'll make sure Wes grabs a screenshot, make sure we're all good, and gets it to you. And I'm glad we could just kind of cover that because I know the question's been coming up so much, and like it's just so good to have that expert explain it, even to me,
Yeah, no problem,
so
man.
that I can then continue to explain to people what happened and how we're kind of work through the kinks of life. So, man, it has been awesome. Any other alpha craziness you want to drop before we depart? It's been the full hour. Wow, we crushed the full hour out. Any other questions from chat while we're here about anything going on in Cardano?
What do you think we topped out? Or you think this is just a nice little
I'm not
nice
selling. No way. I think this
well,
is
I mean, I don't fucking sell even if I did think it was the top.
yeah. I think we have so much news coming. I think if we can get some smart contracts out, I think we're, like you said, like we've been talking about, I think this podcast is amazing for the fact that we touched on all those points. Decentralization problems. If the 51% attack had happened, is there a community around Cardano? I think that's very clear throughout this podcast and everything you've shared with NFTs, DeFi, all the interviews you're doing, Cardano Africa, and everything coming out. Like there is a community here. So, I mean, I think that's the most important thing that I wanted to accomplish with the interview with you is to showcase yourself, everything you've been doing in the community, Bloompool, what's working, and then just showcase the Cardano community because I think there's a lot of FUD out there that nobody's working on it, nobody's thinking about it, and I think that's just unacceptable. Being somebody in the community, I see and interact with people like yourself, good people in the community every day, you know.
Yeah, and if you think about Cardano as a tool, and the tool is sharper than the other tools, then people will come. And people are realizing that the fees are cheaper. You know, you can have more secure DeFi protocols once Plutus is out. And also that there is a community here that is willing to, you know, not only use your protocols that you built, but take them and just stride with them, you know, yell about them from the top of a rooftop. Like, I love this protocol. I'm willing to support them. I'm willing to stake to their pool. I'm willing to, you know, wear a shirt or donate. Like, people are just so excited about Cardano. And there are a lot of people building. I mean, if you watch Charles AMAs, he says that he had to stop, you know, answering, you know, calls from the people. And he has like a whole team that is managing all of the people that want to build on Cardano. Right. So it's just, it's an old narrative, but I mean, you can see where it came from. 2017 to 2018, Cardano was really a ghost chain. And it's because the original Byron code that was written was not written correctly. And they rewrote all of it, right? They rewrote all of the dataless code. They rewrote all of the Cardano blockchain code before we had new Byron, right? And then the same team that built that, and they did it well, is who built Shelley and who is now building Goguen and who's now building Voltaire, right? So that's where that narrative came from, and it's true, but things can change, and it's pretty easy to see that it has changed, you know?
Absolutely, man. A lot has started moving in the past year, and you see it rolling out. So I was, you know, getting in some Twitter arguments with people, and it was just kind of funny, like the short-sightedness to be like, Cardano doesn't have smart contracts when we're this close. Like, we're like the closest, we're so close to this. And pools came out last year. Like, it's not like a year ago where we didn't have pools and all that stuff. You know, like things have rolled out in the past year to the point that if you don't believe that smart contracts are coming, like I don't know what to tell you. There's been a lot of factual stuff that's happened over the past 12 months that you can now start to believe that these smart contracts are coming, you know.
Yeah, and it's like even if they're delayed another month, who cares? You know, what is a month in the grand scheme of things?
Hmm.
You know, and it's I honestly appreciate I appreciate that narrative because how else would I have been able to, you know, at at such a young age, you know, be able to build a successful business, you know? It's because people were sleeping on Cardano. You know, there weren't like just a, you know, a bunch of people that day one knew all of the information and because they just didn't believe in it because of that narrative. And all those years I got to pick up ADA at 3 cents, you know, and thank you for that. Thank you for that narrative. I appreciate it, man. You know, and when smart contracts do come, I think it'll speak for itself. You know, that narrative will slowly go away.
That's
But there'll
what's
be
up.
another narrative though, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's always something, you know.
Yeah, I'm waiting for what the next one's going to be.
But this is a great spot to end it. Where can people find you? Bloompool, Big Pay, where do they find you?
Yep, just probably if you type BIG space PEY on Google, I bet my YouTube and Twitter will come up as are just two main things. I also have a Discord server, but yeah, that's just it.
That,
BIG space PEY.
that's what's up, man. I really appreciate it today. Hopefully we can do it again. And thank you for your time, man.
Cool, man. Yeah, I had a fun time. I always have a fun time coming on. I like making my guest appearances on Twitch. I've always wanted to be a Twitch streamer, but I failed. So
That's what's up, man. Well, I'm glad we get to mix communities a little bit and bring it over, dude. And we'll definitely do this again, that's for sure.
awesome, man.
Be safe, brother.
Cool. See ya.
Thank you for watching the YouTube videos. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, comment down below, help us out with the YouTube algorithms. And we're live 5 days a week on Twitch, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. EST. Come check us out. Thanks for watching.